Hi, thank you for joining me today. And if you watched my video on Thursday, you will have seen me documenting a photo of myself and my husband outside Little Morton Hall, one of the National Trust properties near us. And I mentioned that I had another photo of me and the kids to scrap, so that's what I'm doing today. This is the photo. It was just us standing outside the moat around the house, and Amelia was on a little trail that they had for the kids to do. So once again, I'm using 49er Market ARToptions Alena, and I also mentioned on Thursday, if you watched, that I had pulled out the fabric tape to use and then completely forgotten about it. It was just left at the top of my desk. So I've pulled that out today, and I'm going to use that as my base to put my photo on. So I've pulled out the two widest fabric ribbons, that gorgeous one with all the florals on, and then the polka dot one. And if you know me, you know I absolutely adore polka dots. So I'm just having a look at the other two rolls in there. There's a plain tealy blue one, and then there's one with text on and some florals and splodges. I had a little bit of that text one already off the roll that I must have used on a previous project. So I've cut that in half, and I'm considering layering that as you see it above and below the photo, but I'm not quite sure yet. So I just pull it off and leave it on my glass mat for now while I have a think. So this is one of the 6x8 papers that I thought I was going to use on the last layout and didn't because it was too green. So it's working on today's layout. So I've just trimmed, I'm going to trim the side off just so it fits my photo nicely, and then torn the bottom off, and I'll use my edge distresser to distress all those edges. This is one of the frames from the, I think that's from the Laser Cut Elements sheet that I'm layering the photo onto, and I've also pulled out another piece. Again, it's either from the Laser Cut Elements or it might be from the ephemera pieces, that white piece that's like it says register money on it. So I'm considering using that as a layering point as well. So I'm going to stick my photo down onto that photo mat, the 6x8 paper that I used, and then that piece that I tore from the bottom, I'm going to use the reverse of that, which is that gorgeous blue with the coral florals on it again, just as another layering piece to the left of the photo. So sticking that frame down, and then I'll add the photo on top. I pull that white piece out because I'm not quite sure where I want to put that yet. I'm being very decisive today. I was determined. I wanted to get a layout made, and I didn't have a lot of time, so I just went for it. Sometimes when you've got a bit of a time crunch, it really works in your favour, and you just get it done without umming and ahhing for hours over everything. So pulling some more bits out from that Laser Cut Elements and also the ephemera pack. I've got a little label there and that stamp that says lovely on it, which I thought was quite cute. I did consider using this little title but decided against that. So I settled on these leaves. I wanted to bring a bit more of that red in that James has got in his Liverpool top that he's wearing on that day. So just distressing the edges again of that white ticket piece, and I'm going to put that down there, and then sticking down the label, of course, and just starting to layer things up. So now bringing those leaves back in. I couldn't find them for a while because I'd pushed them to one side onto the photo, so they were just blending into that photo, but I found them. So just sticking those down again, just with my wet glue. And then I turn my attention to the rub-ons, and I get a little bit lost in the rub-ons. I love these so much. So I start off by pulling one out that says together. I just trim it off the sheet, and I'm going to rub that down onto the label. And the beauty of these rub-ons is that they're really malleable. So you can put them over different layers of paper without any bother. They don't crack or break. So this is going to go onto that label, but obviously the tails of the letters will go underneath the label, and you'll see it just goes on like butter. It's no problem at all. And then once I've put that on, I decide to have a look through the other rub-ons, and I find these, I want to say they're background pieces because they're like mixed media with some text on them. They're absolutely gorgeous. So I start layering these around the photo, and you'll see I just go crazy. I just keep adding little bits and pieces, and that's the beauty of these rub-ons. You can just keep adding bits. You just cut little bits off and add them to the page, and you can see there a little bit didn't rub on, so I'm just moving it across the page and adding that there, and then I think there's a little bit more still, so just adding that, and I've got a block, so I've got to keep going. So cut another piece off and add that to the top there, and then once that's down, I decide that I want to continue bringing these rub-ons all the way around the photo really. So they go up the sides of the fabric tape and all the way around the edges of the photo. And I just love how these really create a beautiful background without having to get messy. Just keep rubbing these on, adding them in the places that you want them to be added. And you don't need to be too careful how you cut them, because they do tend to just, I don't know how to describe it really, but they don't look like a sharp edge when you cut them on a sharp edge, if you like. They do just sort of fade into the background, so you really don't need to be too precise when trimming them down. I've watched Katie Petite, who's the designer for 49er Market. When she rubs things on, she's amazing. She just does it directly from the sheet. I'm not quite brave enough to do that because I have a feeling that the rub-ons will stick to my photo or stick to bits that I don't want them to stick to. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing now and just chopping bits off and adding them like that. But if you get the opportunity, do watch Katie's videos. They're amazing. So I'm nearly there now, just adding a few more bits just to fill in those gaps. A bit at the bottom here, and then there's another little bit at the top that I want to add. Like I say, so they just follow along that line of the fabric ribbon and all the way around the edges of the photo. And it's just creating like a mixed media mat really for that photo to sit on. So I think this is the last piece that I add now. Might be a tiny bit more. I just have a look to see whether there are any gaps and add to those. Yes, I'm still continuing, sorry about this. And at the bottom there I do end up overlapping the fabric ribbon just because I couldn't be bothered to trim the bit off really. It worked really nicely, and it just blends in, so gorgeous. Right, so I'm finally finished with all those rub-ons. I managed to let go and put them to one side. So I'm just pulling out these. I think these were from Simply the Best from Pink Fresh Studio, but these colours worked perfectly with the blues and greens in this collection. So I'm just spelling out Little Morton Hall, which is where we were. I didn't put that as a main title on the other page, so I wanted to make sure that I did that on this page. And then the little inserts from the O's work out as perfect little puffy circles. So I've added those. You can see just 3 to the page, one at the top above the photo, one just below. I haven't done that yet. See, I'm telling you what I'm going to do in the future. I'm adding this string to the right hand side of the photo. I love these wraps that they provide, but they don't seem to fit any of my photos very well. So when I tried it on this frame and it worked nicely, I thought, right, this is definitely going on this photo. It just adds a nice bit of texture really to the layout. So I liked that there. And then I found this little leaf cluster in blue, so I'm adding that to the bottom as well, just as another layering piece. And that mirrors that red leaf quite nicely that I've got on the left hand side. So now working on the top cluster, I wanted to bring in a label to add my date to, and then these peach stamp pieces I love, so I wanted to add a piece at the top where that label is, and also to the bottom, just to bring that peach into that bottom corner. Amelia's got her gorgeous peach coat on, so that worked really nicely. And then I'm just pulling the edge piece off. If you watched that video on Thursday, you'll have seen I used one of these just as a layering piece on the edge of the photo, and I absolutely love how that looks. So I'm just going to bring it into this one as well, and I settle on adding it above that lovely stamp. So just gluing that down right to the edge of the photo. So it just looks like a little piece of note paper coming out from there. And here I am trying to fight against everything in my body that says don't use a coat hanger on a layout that doesn't have anything to do with coat hangers. But there are loads of coat hangers in this collection. I'm not quite sure why, but I decided that the colour worked really nicely, and I was just going to bring it in. And when the layout's finished, I do bring another one in, and they look fine. It's fine. It doesn't go with the photo, but I'm embracing it. So just gluing those bits down at the top. So I brought another one of those postage stamps in, as I mentioned, in the peach, and then this tab. I'm struggling to glue them down on that fabric tape. It takes a couple of goes. And then I'm going to add my date, which was the 9th of June 2017. And then I pull out another piece that I wouldn't normally use. It's a little, almost like a metal frame it looks. It's from the laser cut pieces. But I decide to add that to that cluster at the top there, and it just brings in a different texture again, a different colour, and it just adds to that cluster nicely. So I'm pleased that I'm challenging myself to use these pieces more that I wouldn't ordinarily reach for. So a little heart at the bottom of my photo there, Just gluing that down. And then I'm going to come in with my journaling, and it's only a couple of lines. It just says, a fun afternoon out together at this new to us National Trust property, such a small yet interesting building. So these are those puffy bits that I was talking about, the insides of the O's. So I'm just adding 3 of those in different colours around the page. Again, just to bring in some interest, and it's using something that would ordinarily go in the bin. So, and here's that second coat hanger. So I'm just going to glue that down to the card, and I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this. It's been great using this older collection, and it is beautiful. So I'm sure you'll see me using it again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.